the truth is, it doesn't matter the scenario that you were in, you will still be unsatisfied because you are rooted in selfishness and not God. You are rooted in serving yourself and not others, and that's your problem.
It's not worth it dealing with someone else every single day of your life. I've been married for about 7 years, and I don't even know if this is worth it. And not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong, and that's the point. Like, I don't even know why I'm upset. I'm just, like, not thinking that I made the right decision. And I am a good man. I do. And that's not the point. Point is, it's like, you really do lose yourself. And this could be even to a good man. Like, you're gonna lose something, and I don't think it's worth it. Always checking in with someone, it's always somebody else. Even if it's absolutely worth it, I don't think it is.
Hi everybody, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you're here. As you're coming in, I would like to ask that you please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new uploads or when I go live. And ladies, always remember to keep it classy and never trashy. I'm femininity coach Jai Monae. Again, I'm so happy you're here. Let's go ahead and get into it. I have a question for you. Is having the perfect husband good enough? Let's go ahead and talk about it. So we're going to go ahead and pull this right on back up, and we are going to break it down. So I'm going to play it and pause it.
It's not worth it dealing with someone else every single day of your life. Every day. I've been married for about 7 years, and I don't even know if this is worth it. Like, and not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong, and that's the point. Like, I don't even know.
So she's having this conundrum inside because it's like she knows she has a good man, but she's unhappy. Her husband's wonderful. He provides, he does all of these things, and she's still unhappy. Of course, ladies, we have to remember something that I talk about over on this channel, the difference between being happy and you having joy. Happiness is typically more of a fleeting feeling, and it comes and goes. It goes left and right and up and down just as the wind blows. And happiness is typically only sparked by a particular moment or an event in your life that gives you that sense of excitement, that sense of exhilaration, that sense of adrenaline, essentially. And that's a part of the reason why many ladies like toxic relationships.
Do y'all think healthy relationships get boring?
That, to me, that gives me a sense that you can never be satisfied. There is boredom in stability. There is a calmness and a stillness. There is a rest in stability. Ladies are always talking about how they want to rest in their feminine, but they don't know how to sit their tails down. How can you want to rest and also be on go, 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 go? You want to live a soft life, but you're constantly pedaling down a new hill, a new activity, a new man, a new experience. That's not rest. You have no stillness in your life. That's why you don't even know how to control your emotions, because you've never even required yourself to just sit down and think about how you truly feel and internalize it and rationalize it, and then thus being able to express how you feel and then come to a common solution. Many of you women are in a constant sense of chaos, disarray, being unorganized. So when a man brings order and brings structure, which is a form of calmness, which is a form of repetition, typically, of some sort, it's boring. Because again, you're used to being in a disarrayed state. That's why many women complain about a man or run away from a man who brings order and structure to her life, because she's constantly looking for something new, something fresh, something toxic, something that's out of order, because it's not boring, because it constantly has her adrenaline pumping. It doesn't necessarily bring joy, but it brings, again, that adrenaline. It gets your heart pumping. Compared to joy, it is more of a long-lasting state of being. And in rest, there's stability. And also in rest, there is joy. And in a stable, healthy relationship, it doesn't necessarily always give you that adrenaline shot that, unfortunately, many women need, that will kind of keep them coming back to a man. So sometimes it isn't even enough being a good man. But we're going to continue to talk about more of the reason why. But let's continue to hear what she has to say.
Why I am upset, I'm just like not thinking that I made the right decision. Like, and I am a good man. I do. And that's not the point. The point is, it's like, you really do lose yourself. You lose your sense of individuality. You lose your sense of peace.
The Bible says, for this reason, a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two become one flesh. That's found in Genesis, and it's also found in the New Testament. The implication is you lose, again, your individuality, and you become one person, one flesh. You mesh and melt together spiritually with your husband. And she's essentially grieving that side of her. And so I think it's really important for us to remember, ladies, as we're pursuing marriage and as we are in marriages ourselves, that it's okay to feel like you're losing yourself. That's why it's important to marry a man you actually like. Marry a man not only for your present, for where you are now, but you should also marry a man for your future. But again, she's grieving her past. I completely understand with being a mommy of 3. I've got a 3-year-old, an almost 2-year-old, and a 7-month-old. So I completely understand that, especially with having children, you become an entirely different woman. I'm no longer just Jay, but I'm mommy. I really have little ones who are running around calling me mommy. And sometimes I'm just like, he's really calling me mommy. I'm really a mother. Because I've become a different person. My entire body chemistry has evolved and changed. And I definitely sympathize and empathize with her, because I had a moment where I also grieved who I was. But I also remembered I wanted this. And she's grasping for straws, and she's trying to figure out how she can gather her old self again when she's gone. Ladies, this is a reason why it is very important to talk to your husband about this process. Ladies, everything your emotional processes doesn't have to be a secret to your man. So ladies, you need to get offline and tell your man how you feel, because it's not going to help your house. It's not going to build your house if you're going online seeking validation from a bunch of strangers. But it's best to, again, seek the validation from your husband, and even go to counseling.
And this could be even to a good man. Like, you're gonna lose something, and I don't think it's worth it, like, at all. I've always had a dream of, like, getting out of my hometown, like, city, and moving on, like, moving forward. Like life is supposed to be experience. Like, we're supposed to be doing new things and traveling, and I don't know if I want to continue doing this every single day of my life. Like,
so now she's saying, I want to travel. I want to get out. I feel stuck. Again, ladies, as I said, you marry a man for your present, but also for your future. If you desire to travel, or realize you desire to travel, express that. Save up for the trips. Look into some good places to go, even if you road trip it. Especially if you don't have any children. Road tripping is fun with the person who's supposed to be your favorite person in the whole world. It's important to have these conversations in terms of, hey, where do you plan to raise a family? Do you intend to stay in the city, or do you intend to live in another state, in another country? Because if it's in your heart to leave your born state and to go elsewhere, maybe try to meet a man who lives outside of the state you live. Or again, get with the man who's in your hometown, who again has similar aspirations. So it isn't a surprise when the whole I want to travel conversation comes up.
Always checking in with someone, always having to consider their feelings, it's always somebody else. You're never alone. Even if it's absolutely worth it, I don't think it is. Even if you found the most perfect man, it's not worth it. It's not. Like, it's always going to be best to just, like, be alone.
She said, it's always about someone else. It's always about someone else's feelings. I always have to check in with somebody else. Oh, that's what marriage is. And it also, checking in with someone like your husband provides to you safety. It's always about someone else. It's always someone else's feelings. Always have to check in with someone. It just sounds like she doesn't want to have to be accountable to someone, which gives me the indication that they probably don't have children. Because that gets put on steroids when you have children. In healthy, lasting relationships, you always consider someone else. You always consider your husband. You always consider your wife. Because again, the two of you are one. But again, she's grieving her individuality. She's grieving her past. She's grieving who she thought she was or who she wanted to be. That's another thing that women tend to do. We tend to think of what shoulda, woulda, coulda. What would happen if I went to this direction? What would have happened if I married this man or married that man, or if we lived in this state or had this house, or if I had that car, whatever. Random little scenarios. And if you don't nip that type of thinking in the bud, you could spiral down into a situation of being depressed, being unsatisfied, and even being resentful. So then you'd be saying, oh, he's a good man, but he's a great man, but I'm living a dream, but what if?
And maybe that's why so many men tell older women they're gonna be alone and be so sad. I'm sad with a great man. Like, imagine living a fairy tale and it's nothing like you imagined it. You're living your literal fairy tale and it's not what you want. It's not what you want. Even if you think that you want it, even if it's exactly what you dreamed of, it's still just, I don't know.
She said she's living a fairy tale. This is exactly what she wanted, and it still isn't enough. So again, the question is having the perfect husband good enough? According to her, even having the perfect man is not worth it, because you don't get to have your alone time, and it's best to be alone. She needs a break. She just needs to go away in a hotel room to just rest and recover, because it can get overwhelming being a wife. It can get overwhelming being a mother, and it does. I get it. Again, I'm in a wonderful marriage. I love my family. God is so good. I am so blessed. At the same time, I need a break sometimes too. A break from the children, a break just from my husband. Just let me be in the room for an hour, 2 hours. Let me watch my show with my favorite snack, and then we'll come back and reconvene, and I'll be good again. Because as women, we do have those emotional ups and downs, and that's okay. But again, this is something that you have to absolutely 100% express to your man. If you're so focused on having experiences, but you're not including your husband, then that's your problem there. Did you intend to have experiences without him? Are you trying to go on girls' trips? Like, what's really going on? But we're going to go a little bit deeper into my perspective on where she really is mentally. She said, even if you're living a fairy tale, you realize it's not what you wanted. It isn't worth it. Even if you think this is what you wanted. This is why, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit, but this is why channels like mine and others who are going to give the ladies information and pointers and, in a sense, like YouTube counseling on what real life marriage takes, it's so important. There are moments where sometimes in marriage that maybe you have financial struggles, a person loses their job, or there's hard times on the job, or whatever case is, injury. There isn't going to always be perfect moments, but that's what builds character. That's what builds strength in your foundation in your marriage. Of course, I talk about you need, friendship and all of those things. But sometimes when you go through lows like this, again, this is a time to open up to your husband about how you're feeling. This isn't a time to close him out, to say he isn't enough. He just can't do it for me. But hey, this is how I'm feeling. Maybe I'm used to the toxic relationship and it doesn't make sense. It's a little weird, but this is how I'm feeling. Can we spice it up? Have you thought about living in a different state? I want to experience a different state. What do you think that would look like for us? Are you open to making plans about living in a different state? These types of channels like mine are important because it encourages women to look within. It encourages women to understand that it takes two to tango. Otherwise, years later, the women here are going to could possibly be saying things like what she's saying. He's a good man. He's a perfect man, but he isn't enough. It isn't enough. I don't know what's wrong. I want to be alone. I don't want to always consider someone else's feelings. These types of feelings are what can lead to divorce. Insert Miss, I graduated from my marriage.
Yeah, I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school. You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. Mm-hmm. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration.
She wasn't feeling satisfied. She knows Corey was a good man, is a good man, but it was just something. It's something. I feel like I need to rediscover myself. And again, I get that because you do become a different person. You become another type of woman when you, again, become one flesh with a man and when you have children. Again, I get that. So you do have to learn yourself all over again. And I'm in that process, but I'm happy doing it with my husband. I'm happy that my husband has seen these different versions of me. The cute, preppy, peppy, full of energy 22-year-old when I met him, when we met. And now I'm the 29-year-old. I've had 3 of his children. I've gained some marriage weight and some mommy weight. I went from having a bleach blonde pixie cut to now I have locks. Almost 3 years in, he saw my natural hair journey, and he also has seen me now that I've mellowed out some, and I've also seen him evolve. And there have been moments where I've had conversations where I've cried, where I've broken down about not feeling like myself anymore. But I brought that to him. I was transparent with him. I was vulnerable with him. I didn't want to file divorce papers in the rediscovery of myself. But again, I opened up to him how I felt so he could help me navigate that and also support me in that. Because sometimes we don't necessarily need help in rediscovering ourselves, but we just need the space and, again, the support. And ladies, you don't have to leave your man in order to receive that support. But again, insert Tia Mowry in being a sad wife with a good man. I want to go to a couple of screenshots that I pulled from my video, my second video on Tia Mowry, because I want to show that I think Tia Mowry was, in a sense, also feeling like how this young woman was feeling. And I was talking about a few things in that video in terms of Tia being selfish, losing sight of God, losing sight of what it means to be a wife and a mother. So this person said, okay, so I know someone who was a longtime insider in Tia and Corey's life. What you said is accurate. What messed up Corey and Tia's marriage? Spiritual warfare. Tia opened herself up to all kinds of highly weird energy and it tore her house up. Tia was already a bit self-interested and she had a brash personality. Corey is alpha male, old school Christian, and they share different values. More than Corey knew or thought would end the marriage. There's a lot of do what thou wilt, if you know, Aleister Crowley, and witchcraft going on in LA. Sadly, Tia has gotten caught up in that LA spirituality stuff that Corey was trying to protect her from. But the comment claims that Tia lost sight of the values that Corey thought they had in common. She let people, she let friends, she let debaucherous mentalities, she allowed that to sink into her spirit. And then it began to devour her home. It began to devour her marriage. And unfortunately, children are involved in this. I'm not trying to turn this into a Bible study, y'all, but I'm sorry, but I got to do it, okay? Bear with me, you guys. But understand, in the last days, terrible times will come for men. Now, this includes men and women. Men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, obtrusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, and what does that say? Without love of good. She doesn't even love her good husband, y'all. She doesn't even appreciate her good husband that she was blessed with.
I've been married for about 7 years, and I don't even know if this is worth it. And not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong, and that's the point. I'm just not thinking that I made the right decision. And I have a good man. I do.
Traitorous, reckless, conceited, selfish, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of who? God. When you're so focused on yourself, when you're so focused on what makes me happy, what can I do for myself? I'm so tired of always worried about other people's feelings.
Always having to consider their feelings. It's always somebody else.
It's about self-love. And when you start to really work on yourself, love yourself, know your value, know your worth, and then all of a sudden there's this awakening.
You begin to worship yourself. Self-love. If he don't provide a soft life, I don't want him. Me. I. If he doesn't pay for my hair for the first day, I don't want him. If I have to bill him, he ain't worth a hill of beans. Me. I. If it doesn't serve me, it isn't worth my time. All of this, me culture, me, worship me. Everything should revolve around me. Instead of learning how to navigate through tough emotional moments in your life in a relationship. She said, I wanted this. I wanted the Prince Charming. I wanted the man who would provide. I wanted the man who would put me in a 4-bedroom house. I wanted the man who would give me the big ring. I wanted the man who was 6 foot. I wanted the man who would do this. I wanted this. I wanted that. I'm living a fantasy, but I'm still unhappy. These are called vain pursuits, ladies. Everything that you wanted was seeped and steeped and rooted in the foundation of vanity. And again, selfishness. And a lot of that starts at home where you're growing up with your mom and your daddy. But I'm not going to go down that road during this conversation. But again, it's a vain pursuit. Nothing good comes out of vanity because you will continually seek validation from strangers, from men who aren't your boyfriend, from men who aren't your husband, from the outside world, then what's in your house and who's in your house, such as your husband, even who's outside of God, the Lord Jesus Christ. Because y'all, again, I'm not trying to give y'all a Bible class or Bible study, but this is more than just, oh, I'm unhappy. This is spiritual. This is spiritual. There's something in her heart. She has a void that even having a perfect husband cannot fill. Again, I'm in a wonderful marriage. I have a wonderful husband. I have beautiful, cute little children. But I could also be saying this same thing that she's saying.
Dealing with someone else every single day of your life. Every day. I've been married for about 7 years, and I don't even know if this is worth it. And not saying that there's anything necessarily wrong. There's nothing wrong, and that's the point. Like, I don't even know why I'm upset. I'm just, like, not thinking that I made the right decision. Like, and I have a good man. I do. And that's not the point. The point is, it's like, you really do lose yourself. You lose your sense of individuality, your sense of peace. And this could be even to a good man. Like, you're gonna lose something, and I don't think it's worth it. Like, at all. I've always had a dream of, like, getting out of my hometown, like, city, and moving on, like, moving forward. Like, life is supposed to be experience. Like,
again, I could be saying the same thing, you all. She feels stuck. She needs some new furniture. She needs some new paintings on the wall. She needs 3 nights at a spa and a hotel and a little wine and her favorite show and some snacks. Not a divorce. Tia opted in for a divorce. Tia opted in for, I think there is better out here for me. But she got on here and said, again, she has a good man. Did she not think about how there are women who are looking for a good man, a good monogamous man? It might be people who she knows personally who's waiting for her to drop that man in order for her to swoop in like a hawk and get that man. Ladies, if you have a good man, your first option should not be divorce. You shouldn't even put that in your Rolodex for an option. Counseling, Jesus, prayer, fasting, switch it up in the bed, change sides on the bed. It was his side on this side and yours on this side. Switch, adjust some things, do some dusting, get some intimacy cards. But going online and saying how you graduated, saying how a good man isn't enough, that's not it. Because again, it goes back to that joy versus happiness. Are you seeking happiness or are you seeking joy? Only Jesus can bring joy. Houses and cars and weaves and all of these different things, they bring happiness, but it's money. They bring temporal happiness. But what about joy? A healthy, happy relationship should bring you joy. But if you are not grounded in the Lord, that is when you begin to say that a good man is not good enough. She seems depressed. She needs to seek help.
Stop it. Get some help.
Ladies, if you're ever feeling this way, maybe you need professional help. Yes, you can pray, you can fast, you can read your Bible, but you may need to see a psychiatrist or a therapist. As an individual and even as a couple, I am a big advocate for therapy or even just couples coaching. I'm a huge advocate for it. When your relationship, when your marriage is going great and when it's going not so great. You don't need a new car. You just need some new brake pads. You don't need a new car. You just need an oil change. And this is what's going on with her car. Every time she hitting the brakes, it's screeching. Again, probably need some new brake pads. Maybe some rotors, but not an entirely new car. Oh, throw the whole car away. Set it on fire because this car is no longer good enough. No, babe. Hold on. Slow down. You just need some maintenance. Money cannot buy happiness. Money can't buy joy. The fantasy life cannot buy you satisfaction in your relationship. It cannot buy you satisfaction in your heart. Now, I got one more scripture for y'all, okay? Because everyone says, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, but they don't even know what it is. Have you read Proverbs 31? A wife of noble character, who can find? She is far more precious than rubies. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he lacks nothing of value. She brings him good and not harm all the days of her life. She doesn't always, vent on social media, but she comes to him with the troubles of her heart. Even when her heart is troubled, she says, hey, let's talk about this. Again, not venting to her mama, who she knows doesn't like her husband anyway. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She's a diligent worker in whatever she's doing. She rises while it's still night to provide food for her household and portions for her maidservants. She appraises a field and buys it, and from her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She's wise with her money. She's wise with her pursuits. She continues to produce. She girds herself with strength and shows her arms are strong. Strength mentally, strength physically, strength spiritually. She sees that her gain is good and her lamp is not extinguished at night. She stretches out her hand to the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She helps others. Some of you ladies, you probably don't feel fulfilled in your life because you don't do things for other people. That goes back to the whole selfishness situation. You expect everyone to serve you, but you don't do anything for anybody else. It's always about, well, if I do this, if I scratch your back, scratch mine. Matter of fact, scratch mine first, then I'll scratch yours. There are many women who are so selfish today, but again, they're not planted, they're not rooted in the Most High. And so they continuously chase after vain things that will only give them temporary happiness. Let's keep going, you guys. Almost done. If it snows, she has no fear for her household, for they are all clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings in her bed. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known at the city gate, where he sits among the elders of the land. So this lady saying the virtuous woman has a great husband. She has a nice house. She has fine clothing. Her husband is respected. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she can laugh at the days to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and doesn't eat the bread of idleness. Many women who have good husbands, whose husbands have made them housewives, they sit around the house and do nothing. They're idle. And so that gives them ample time to figure out what to complain about, to figure out what they don't like about their husband, to figure out what they don't like about their home, to figure out a way to dismantle their relationship from the inside out. Idleness is not good for anybody. The saying says, an idle mind is the devil's playground. And a lot of women are letting the devil play all around, swinging on the swing set, sliding down the slide. You've allowed the devil to, again, cause you to think that your unhappiness, your unsatisfaction for life is steeped in what he's not doing for you, or just gives you feelings of dissatisfaction and you want out, rather than honoring the covenant and the vows that you took. You cannot be a housewife and just sit around and not do anything. You should have hobbies. You should continually have friends, but not friends who are going to influence you like Tia's friends influenced her. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband praises her as well. Many daughters have done noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman that fears the Lord is to be praised. If a woman fears the Lord, then good things will be produced from it. Then if she fears the Lord, she will realize, hey, I don't deserve any of this. I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for the breath that I'm taking. But when you lose sight of the small things in your life, when you lose sight of the small things, such as being able to walk, being able to talk, having a vehicle, being able to put gas in your car, being able to move your body, when you lose sight of being grateful of every aspect in your life, that's when you begin to nitpick. You're nitpicking yourself, then you're nitpicking that man, then you're nitpicking that house, then you're nitpicking your family, and then again, you're going over in your mind what I shoulda, coulda, woulda did. What I shoulda, coulda, woulda done. I would be here, I would be there. But the truth is, it doesn't matter the scenario that you were in, you will still be unsatisfied because you are rooted in selfishness and not God. You are rooted in serving yourself and not others. And that's your problem. Sometimes you're depressed. I get that. Seek help. I've been depressed before. So I'm not knocking that. Mental wellness is important. But many of the ladies are not told that you must be selfless. day in and day out. Marriage is a sacrifice. When you decide to marry a man, when you decide to have children, it is a continuous sacrifice of self, but y'all are not willing to sacrifice. When you expect a man to lay down his life to work day in and day out to provide the life that he's providing you that you're unhappy with, that's your problem. Having the perfect husband isn't enough? No, it's not. If that woman is incapable of doing self-introspection, if a woman is incapable of being satisfied and being joyful in a healthy relationship, and I think that's the answer to the question. But that's what I think it is. She needs to seek the Most High, because that's the only person who can help get you all the way together. Because women in today's society appreciate nothing and expect everything, are grateful for nothing and expect people to bow down to them day in and day out. You are supposed to be a servant of others, and you will receive that back. But when you have vain pursuits, you won't be satisfied because they're all empty. All right? That's all I got for you. If you like the content you see, then please don't forget to like, comments, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new uploads or when I go live. And until next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I found love.